Ibrahim Traoré, Power and the Unfinished Story of Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso's Ibrahim Traoré. Burkina Faso is once again at the center of Africa's most difficult questions. At the heart of it all is Captain Ibrahim Traoré, a young military officer who rose to power in 2022 after overthrowing a fellow junta leader, promising security, sovereignty, and a break from the past. To supporters, Traoré represents resistance, a leader willing to challenge foreign influence and speak the language of dignity in a region long shaped by outside powers. To critics, he is something else entirely, a ruler consolidating authority in the name of stability, while narrowing the political space around him. What's undeniable is this: Traoré governs a country under extreme pressure, facing insurgency, economic strain, and internal power struggles. And recently, those pressures became impossible to ignore. Recent events, coup plots, and an assassination threat. In early 2026, Burkina Faso's authorities announced they had foiled a major plot targeting President Traoré. According to official statements, the plan allegedly involved assassinating the president and sabotaging key military infrastructure, including a drone base used in counter-insurgency operations. Security officials described the plot as advanced and coordinated, claiming it was stopped just before execution. This was not an isolated incident. Burkina Faso's government has now reported multiple attempted coups since Traoré took power, some allegedly linked to former military leaders, others to shadowy networks operating from outside the country. Each announcement reinforces a core message from the regime: the state is under siege from within and from beyond its borders. But repeated coup allegations also raise another question: is Burkina Faso facing constant threats? Or is the narrative of threat becoming a tool of governance? Power and control, media, fear, and confessions. Alongside these security announcements, a new tactic has drawn attention. In recent months, televised confessions have appeared on state media showing alleged plotters admitting guilt, naming accomplices, and warning others against resistance. Supporters argue this is deterrence, a psychological defense in a country fighting for survival. Critics see something darker, a method of controlling the narrative, discouraging dissent, and reinforcing fear. At the same time, the government has suspended or expelled several foreign NGOs, accusing them of interference or lack of alignment with national priorities. Combined with the extension of the military transition period, now stretching years into the future, Burkina Faso is entering a phase where power is increasingly centralized, justified by insecurity. The line between protection and repression is becoming harder to define. The digital front: hero, myth, or manufactured image. Beyond Burkina Faso's borders, a different battle is playing out online. On social media, Ibrahim Traoré is often portrayed as a symbol of African defiance, standing up to the West, rejecting old alliances, and reclaiming sovereignty. But investigations have shown that some viral content surrounding Traoré is misleading or fabricated. AI-generated videos, fake speeches, and even false endorsements from global figures have circulated widely, blurring reality and myth. This digital amplification has real consequences. It shapes how Traoré is viewed not only by supporters abroad, but also by young Africans seeking leaders who challenge the global order. In the age of AI and algorithm-driven politics, image can travel faster than truth, and Burkina Faso has become a testing ground for how modern power is marketed. Looking ahead, an open question for the Sahel. So where does this leave Burkina Faso? On one hand, a leader who enjoys strong symbolic support, a population exhausted by violence. A government promising security first, democracy later. On the other, repeated coup allegations, tightening control over information, and extended transition with no clear end. The hardest question may be this: is Ibrahim Traoré buying time to stabilize a fractured nation or building a system that cannot easily be reversed? And more broadly, can security achieved through force alone ever create lasting legitimacy? Burkina Faso's story is not finished. In fact, it may only be entering its most decisive chapter. What happens if Traoré falls? In Burkina Faso, power is concentrated in one man. But history shows us something uncomfortable. When strongmen fall, countries don't automatically rise. The immediate hours a power vacuum. If Ibrahim Traoré were removed by coup, internal split, or revolt, the first 48 hours would matter more than the first 48 days. Burkina Faso has no elected civilian backup structure waiting in the wings. Power would likely shift to a rival military faction, an emergency security council, or competing commanders claiming legitimacy. In this moment, unity would not be guaranteed. Instead, the military itself could fracture each group, claiming it alone can save the nation. In the Sahel, history shows that when one uniform falls, another quickly steps forward. The security front who controls the guns. Burkina Faso is fighting one of the region's most complex insurgencies. If leadership collapses, chain of command weakens. Intelligence coordination breaks down. Frontline units act independently. Armed groups don't need to win battles. They only need confusion. In moments of political transition, insurgents often expand territory, test defenses, and recruit aggressively. A leadership collapse wouldn't end the war. It could accelerate it. Regional shockwaves, the Sahel ripple effect. Burkina Faso is not isolated. It is part of a fragile Sahelian alignment alongside Mali and Niger, all led by military governments that reject Western pressure and emphasize sovereignty. If Traoré falls, allies would fear contagion. Rival powers would reassess influence. External actors would quietly reposition. The fall of one junta leader doesn't stay local. It sends a message across borders. Power can change suddenly and violently. The civilian question democracy or another general. Many assume the fall of a military leader opens the door to democracy. But Burkina Faso's recent history suggests otherwise. Civilian institutions are weak. Political parties are fragmented. Public trust is low. In such conditions, elections don't automatically bring stability. More likely outcomes: another transitional military leader, a rebranded junta with new promises, or a prolonged period of uncertainty. The uniforms may change. The system may not. The deeper question: was Traoré a symptom or the cause? This may be the hardest truth. Ibrahim Traoré did not create Burkina Faso's crisis. He emerged from it. Removing him does not automatically remove poverty, insecurity, weak institutions, external pressure, public frustration. So the real question is not what happens if Traoré falls, but what replaces the conditions that produced him. Until those conditions change, another Traoré will always be possible. Burkina Faso stands on a knife's edge. Stability without freedom is fragile. Freedom without security is dangerous. And in the Sahel, history rarely offers clean endings. The fall of one man may feel like a turning point, but whether it becomes progress or chaos depends on what comes next. And right now, that answer remains unwritten. Coming soon, can the Sahel ever return to civilian rule? Why coups keep repeating in West Africa? Security versus democracy, Africa's hardest choice. This is Sal Peer, signing off from VlogND, where we work to uncover the true stories of the world and Africa. Thank you for spending your time with us. If you enjoyed the journey, subscribing is the best way to ensure you never miss the next one. We are so grateful for your support.